girlies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie, and if you've been on the hunt for a good natural makeup look or no makeup, then you've come to the right place. I'm going to show you all of my tips and tricks and really easy things to accomplish this look. Now, when I always do a no makeup or a very natural look, what I first want to assess is, what does my natural beauty look like? What are the features I really like that I want to enhance? And what are the features that maybe they could use a little extra help? So like my rosy cheeks. I know that for me, doing a no makeup look or a very natural look, I can't just spot correct with my concealer because that's not going to give me enough coverage to blend in with the rest of my skin, because you know, I've got really red cheeks here, and then I've got white down here and veins, and I've got pimples. So I really like to assess the situation before I just come in and start putting on all my makeup, okay? Because there's a lot of different makeup products that you can put on, but we really want to just enhance our natural beauty, right? This is a natural makeup look. Now, with being natural doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice, okay? With these blue and purple circles, that is not something I'm willing to compromise on. I don't want these shining through because they can make me look tired. And I want to look more awake. I want to look fresh, and I want to feel beautiful. I don't want to have to be worrying about, you know, my blue circles all day long shining through my makeup. If you want a very natural makeup look, then you want to use a sponge, okay? Because a sponge is going to soak up more product, and it's also going to push it into your skin, but it's going to take off that excess, whereas a brush is really going to pack it on there. And you also don't want to be applying too much foundation. So really, I'm going to get this to spread out as far as I can. It really doesn't take much. It's just a very, very light layer. If you even wanted to, rather than coming in with a foundation, you could also come in with a tinted moisturizer or a light coverage foundation. This one is medium. Because I'm using a sponge, it's really spreading it out and thinning it out a whole lot more. So it's a lot lighter coverage, but it's gonna give me more coverage than just a really light one, because I do have that redness peeking through my skin kind of everywhere around my face, and it just kind of gives me a blank slate to be able to work with. Making sure that's all really well blended in there. Next, I'm going to come in with my concealer, because it doesn't make sense to me to do a full face of makeup, whether you know you're going a little more natural and light or whether you're going heavy, but you don't cover up the veins on your eyes. Again, that sponge is just going to give you coverage, but also take away any excess to give you the most natural coverage. So I'm canceling out any discoloration that I have while not doing full coverage and caking it on. Now I'm gonna let that sit and kind of marinate a little bit. But the best way to get the most natural look is to use cream products, okay? If you're an oily skin person, like, I get it. You may not want to use those cream products because they just slip and slide off your face, but hear me out. You can layer those, you know, put a cream product down and then put a light amount of powder on top of that. So maybe use a cream bronzer, and then you come in with your powder bronzer and you use that to kind of set it, but you don't have to use as much powder bronzer. And the nice thing about a powder bronzer is that you can also use the same brush to apply your cream blush, and so it's really melting those products all together. And being very careful to not overdo the color. Like if I were here on camera, right? Like I have to put on a lot more makeup so that you can actually see the makeup on my face. But in person, I don't need that much makeup. I want to look natural. So I'm really not going to apply that much makeup, because I want somebody to look at me and kind of go, is she wearing makeup? I can't tell. Is she? I don't know. Maybe it's just a natural skin. You know, where they're just questioning back and forth, because one, it's blended into your skin so well, you haven't put too much on, and the most important is that it's the right tone for your skin. Not too light, not too dark. You know, this is blended so much that it's really hard to tell where does it start, where does it end. It looks like the sun like naturally just hits me from all directions and gets my face bronzy where I want it to be bronzy. Now another part of looking a little more natural with our makeup is looking natural on our eyes. I'm going to kind of do the natural curve of my eye and crease, and I'm just like accentuating that a little bit more with my bronzer, bringing some more definition and elongating my eyes. But normally, with my hooded eyes, I would bring that, like way up here to make sure that you can see my eyeshadow, which I am bringing it above my crease a little bit, but not too much because I'm just enhancing. I'm not trying to do anything extra of nose contour because really, especially like up here in our eyebrow, we do have natural shadow. So all you're doing is enhancing that natural shadow, making sure it's really well blended. If you see that it's a little too stark, just bring your sponge that you were using and go over those lines, because this will have some extra product on it from your concealer and your foundation, and it will help blend that a little bit more. Now, one of the most natural blush colors is red, but you do want to be selective with the red that you use that matches your skin tone, right? If you have light skin tone like I do, you want to be really careful with those reds. Maybe pick some reds that have some pink in them. There's also red that, maybe has a little more orange in it. So if you're a little more tan, then that would work for you. If you have a dark skin tone, then you can go darker with your red. I like to use this Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Prima Donna blush, and it is so intimidating in the pan here, and it is so intimidating on the face. So I use the tiniest amount. And that's where the brush comes in that I use for my bronzer comes in handy, because I just barely tap that in there. Like, we're talking barely. And it will have some leftover bronzer on there, so it will help blend this out. And really, naturally, we get rosy right here, right under our eyes, right? So normally I would bring blush up here because that's where, I have fuller cheeks, and so I don't necessarily want the fullness here in my cheeks, and so I bring my blush up here. But when I'm doing a natural look, I want to play off of my natural features, right? And this plays off of that I was just in the sun. And it looks really cute and really fresh. Again, I don't do this all the time, and I bring a little bit across my nose. Like a couple years ago when the W was like super, super popular. That look has been around for ages. Have you seen yourself when you get sunburned? You have that W look. What was it? Last week, we were a Sunday family get-together, and my son was swinging in the sun, and yeah, it was kind of hot, about 90 degrees, but I didn't think he had been out there long enough, and we get home, what do you know? He's got a W from the sun burning his face. And it's just a hint, okay? Just a hint of blush that we're doing here. And then the other thing that I like to do is come in with a liquid highlighter, because this will also play off of those natural features, and it will really melt and blend into your skin. We want to put that right here in the outer corner of our eye, at the really highest point of our cheek. I think liquid blushes look so natural. And I'm also going to put some on my eyelid because our eyes naturally have some shine. We are just enhancing everything that we have. And make sure to always brush up those brows to open up your eyes. Make them look more awake, and they won't look super droopy either. This may not seem like it's something that's super natural, but it is very natural, okay? Our lashes, we are naturally close, they are darker, naturally closer to our lash line, okay? I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna tightline just a little bit with some black eyeliner. And that's so that I don't have to put on as much mascara because I've already got that base enhancement from tightlining. Just a little bit. That's like the theme of this entire video. Maybe I should title it just a little bit. For my oily girlies, if you were freaking out like, I can't do the dewy look, don't worry, I got you, okay? We're gonna come in with just a little bit of powder. But we can do this in a way that looks natural. First, I'm going to come into my concealer in case it did any kind of creasing. That's why I let it sit there. and very, very light amount of powder, okay? Very, very light. And I'm only gonna be very targeted where I want that. A little bit under my eyes, a little bit of my pores, but not too much onto my cheeks. I wanna keep that glow on my cheeks. For me, I like a little bit my chin, a little bit right here between my eyebrows, and like that's about it. Put on a little mascara, and this we're gonna do very lightly. It's just to coat them just a little bit to bring some more definition to our eyes. And if you have blonde eyelashes like me, then you can look like you actually have eyelashes. This is a point where you would say, Maddie, I need lip liner. I have to have lip liner. You told me I need to have lip liner because it's gonna make my lips, you know, so much better. Okay, pause. To look most natural, our lips don't actually have lip liner, right? So to look the most natural, you want just a wash of color, and it's gonna be kind of blurry on those edges, right? And our lips are naturally, at least mine, are naturally pink and a little bit red. So I'm gonna come in with that same red blush that I was using, and this is why I also use cream, so that I can interchange the products that I'm using. And I'm coming in with just a tiny bit, okay? Because we're just putting a wash of color so that our lips actually stand out against the base that we've put on. And I usually put on chapstick before I already have chapstick on, but I usually put on chapstick before I do this so I can really get that blend there with my finger and then rubbing my lips together. Here is your natural makeup look that you can feel very fresh and cute and beautiful in no matter what occasion it is. But if you want to take it up just a notch and say, you know, Maddie, I like the natural, but I also need some glam, then you're going to want to watch this video, and that's where I'll see you next, where we cover a full glam look so that you can be ready and bold. And I'll see you in that one. Bye!